Hi, my name is Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. I'm an ordinary person with extraordinary aspirations who believes in living life fully up. Hello, CEOs. Welcome to Solution Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Coach B, the CEO, co-creator of Extraordinary Outcomes. Today's topic, Shannon Sharpe. What happened? Life coaching lessons. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, leave a comment. Hit the StreamYard link in the description below if you would like to come on and discuss today's topic. So here's the link right here. And you can find me on YouTube at Coach B the CEO. And again, today's topic, Shannon Sharpe. What happened? Life coaching lessons. One more time, Shannon Sharpe. What happened? Life coaching lessons. I want to tell you right now that I am not a sports person. I don't know one player from the next. I don't know one team from the next. I don't know different people's positions. But what I do know a little bit about is hot topics and current events. And right now, the thing that's on some people's mind is Shannon Sharpe. This is a Hall of Famer, a former football tight end player. He's been in the Hall of Fame. He has prestige, he has money, and you might say he has it going on. Some might, in the words of some people might consider him a high value man. He has height, he has money, he has prestige, and he has his choice of who he wants to engage in. So, more recently, he was accused of SA. And so there's a lot of conversations about the age range different. He's in his mid 50s. She's in her early 20s. The type of activities they were engaged in. Um, some people say what people do behind closed doors is none of nobody's business as long as there's an agreement and they are consenting adults. So apparently they had some kind of agreement because they have been in this relationship for a minute, and I guess something went wrong or was unexpected on a couple of occasions, and the person that he was dealing with was like, hey, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this like that. And according to the person filing the lawsuit, some things happen against their permission. Now, I'm not here to judge people, say what's wrong, what's right. They shouldn't have did this, they shouldn't have did that, this, that, and the other. That's not my role as a coach. My role is not to be judgmental of people's circumstances, but my role as a coach is to understand what the situation is. So I have a few questions that I want to ask people, such as, can poor judgment and poor decision making create major setbacks in your life? I want to use Shannon Sharpe's name as in his situation as an illustration, so to speak. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, but what are the facts right now? The facts are right now there is a lawsuit against him. The facts are right now that he was a co-anchor on a sports channel, I think it's ESPN, and he recently stepped down so he could deal with the legal allegations and support his family during this time. So this is what we know as facts right now. So I don't want to get into, well, what about this and what about that? I just want to talk about the facts. There's an allegation lodged against him. He stepped away from his job at ESPN, and The legal situation is still there, and he has to deal with his family and his reputation. But the question is, can poor judgment and poor decision making create major setbacks in your life? Now, as I said, I would use him as an illustration because we all know if you're human, and if you are of a certain age, you probably exercise some poor judgment and some poor decision making in a particular area of your life, and it created a major setback. We know that the answer to that question is yes. And then the second question, can money, property, and prestige distract you from your goals? And again, the answer is yes. Sometimes when we take our eyes off the prize, some distraction, I don't know, it could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing, but it's a distraction, and it can what? Take us off our goal, off our focus, off our purpose. And why money, prestige, and property? Why those three things? Money is a big matter for a lot of people. So let's take, for instance, in his situation, Shannon Sharpe, let's take, for instance, in his situation, he had an upcoming deal for $100 million. We don't know as of today whether or not the deal is going to go through, but he had anticipated that that would happen. That would have taken him to another level. But as a result of this legal situation, we don't know the outcome. And again, I'm already stepping away from the job because now I have to deal with the legal issues, and I have to be here for my family because I'm not the only person impacted. So a lot of times when we're practicing poor judgment and poor decision making skills, not only are we impacted, but our loved ones to a degree are impacted too. Then there's the money, the property, prestige. Now, some of the prestige is gone because this deal may not happen. You're not the face of a great channel. You're not the face. So the prestige is gone. The money is gone now. What's left is the property. And the property you may not even be able to hold on to, depending on what happens as a result of the lawsuit. When you lose income, it changes your lifestyle. But sometimes people have money, they have property, they have prestige, and that becomes their moral compass. But it doesn't always align with reality. So if I have a lot of money, and I'm not saying this is the case with him, I'm saying in general, if I have a lot of money and my values and my morals and my principles aren't in check, then I'll be spending my money, my time, and my energy doing things that may make other people go, what's going on here? So you can have money, you can have prestige, and not have your values, your morals, and your principles intact. And think that because you have money, because you have property, because you have prestige, that you can do anything that you want to do without consequences. We see cases of this all the time. In my mind, I'm going, what would I do with $100 million? And then the second question becomes, am I fit to have $100 million? Will I know how to manage it? Will I know how to invest it? Will I know how to carry myself if I had $100 million? And you might say, Coach B, of course you know how to handle yourself if you had $100 million. But what we have found, and you can do the research on this if you want to, They say people have hit the lottery for millions and millions of dollars. Maybe 2 years later, they're broke. They're broke because there was something about their morals, their values, and their principles, and it could be just bad money management. They weren't able to keep their winnings and have their winnings shape their future. So, how is it that I can earn this type of money, $100 million? I can set myself up for success to earn $100 million, be relatively young, and then put all of that at risk. How is it that I can hit the lotto, the lottery rather, or the lotto, and get millions and millions of dollars, and in 2 years be broke? There's something to look at when it comes to those matters, because money doesn't shape your moral values and principles. Your morals, values, and principles shape your money, property, and prestige. And can you personally and professionally sabotage your own success? And again, the answer to that is yes. Why is that important to take a look at? And if I had a group of people here, I would just say, by a show of hands, how many people could relate to any one of these scenarios? One, can you personally and professionally sabotage your own success? Two, can money, property, and prestige distract you from your goals? And three, can poor judgment and poor decision making create major setbacks in your life? And I would ask people, hey, raise your hand if you could relate to one or all of the above. And hands would be up. And you could tell me in the comments. You could put your hand up in the comments. I could relate. I could relate. Maybe not to all three, but maybe one of the three, or maybe all three. Who knows? So what does that say for a coach? For a coach, one of the things as a life coach, one of the things that I help people with is being in alignment with their morals, their values, and their principles. And in some cases, helping people to discover or declare in or describe what are their morals, what are their values, what are their principles, what are their heck no's and heck yes. What do I mean by what are their heck no's and heck yes? No matter what's happening, this is my value. No matter what's happening, this is my value. No matter what's happening, this is the principle that I live by, that I stand by. This is who I am, no matter what the circumstances are. So I would ask people, and I would ask my audience as well, what are your heck no's and what are your heck yes? What are your heck no's? What are your heck yes when it comes down to your own morals, values, and principles? Again, what are your heck yes? What are your heck no's when it comes down to your moral values and principles? And if you're not sure, have you even thought about what are your current morals, values, and principles? Why do I ask that question? Because maybe what was applicable 15, 20 years ago is not applicable anymore because life has changed, you have changed, circumstances have changed. Maybe you have some new values, or maybe you have some outdated values, morals, and principles that you need to take a look at. And then I would ask, how do you go about making decisions? Are you someone that makes decisions sporadically? Do you make decisions on a whim? If it feels good, look good, taste good, do you make a decision based on that? Do you make a decision from rationality, or do you make your decisions based on emotionality? Do you even have emotional intelligence? I would ask all of these questions. If so, how do you apply it in your day to day life? So, again, what's your decision making style? How do you practice good judgment? And what are your values, morals, and principles today? Not yesterday, not 50 years ago. but today. And are you truly, truly, truly living into them? As I said, there are many discussions going on now around Shannon Sharpe. If you turn on YouTube, most people have given most people have given sense of so I'm hoping that I'm still here, still connected with you. So for some, you know, they're looking outside of themselves as the expression goes. Oh, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. So my question to you is, what are your morals? What are your values? What are your principles? Because my morals, my values, and my principles are by. And can you stop and take a look at how do you go about making decisions as it relates to yourself and other people? As I said, due to this situation, Shannon Sharpe had to step down from his job. I'm pretty sure that's loss of income. And don't get me wrong, we might say, oh, he can afford it, he got millions. Listen, if I'm a millionaire, I still don't want to lose no money. If I'm just getting by, I still don't want to lose no money. And I definitely don't want to lose no money because I had poor judgment and poor decision making skills. So this is an opportunity for us, to be honest, to take a step back, take a look at that situation, and then ask ourselves, what's our morals, what's our values, what's our principles? Take a look at how we go about making decisions. Do we always make the best decisions for ourselves? And if not, and if not, how can we improve on doing better in that area? Do we exercise poor judgment? If so, how can we do better in that area? You know, if I had my counseling hat on, because I'm a counselor as well, if I had my counseling hat on, I'll be looking at patterns of behavior, conditional responses, this, that, and the other. I would be dissecting this thing like it's nobody's business. But because I'm not coming from a counseling perspective, I'm coming from a coaching perspective. So, you know, from a coaching perspective, in the here and now, what's your morals? What's your values? What's your principles? From a coaching perspective, do you operate? Do you have good judgment? Do you have good decision making skills? And have you been diverted because of money, property, and prestige? Has that kind of set you apart from keeping with your goals or things that you say you want to do? Listen, it happens to all of us one time or another. And if you have a setback that is great enough, it'll make you want to reevaluate where your life is going. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that Shannon Sharpe is somewhere thinking about how to get the heck out of the mess that he is in right now. I'm almost positive of that. Almost positive. Like, how did I get here? What do I need to change? What do I need to do? And I'm saying to you, we don't have to get there in order to take time, to slow down and take time and really assess. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move my mouse around. Um, to really assess where we are in our life right now. As a matter of fact, it's recommended that periodically, some people do it at the end of the day, some people sit down at the end of the day and they ask themselves some questions about their day. Some people do it at the end of the week, some people do it at the end of the month, some people do it every 6 months. Taking an inventory of where we are in the here and now is so important to our well-being. Let me say that again. Taking an inventory of where we are in the here and now is so important to our well-being. Why is that? Because if we notice something, then we have enough time to put some type of system or plan into place to offset that. So, in other words, let's say I'm really hungry, I'm really sleepy, I'm really tired, and I'm really lonely. There's this acronym called HALT. Don't get too hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And HALT. Stop, slow down, go feed yourself. If you're angry, go talk to somebody about it. If you're lonely, go make some friends. And if you're tired, go get some rest. Those four little steps can make a difference in whether I make good decisions or I operate in poor judgment. Those four things can help me understand that, you know what, I'm getting a little distracted. I'm letting everything else be more important than my what mental health, my well-being. I'm chasing money. I'm working day and night. I'm not getting no rest. So I'm chasing money so hard that I'm neglecting myself. That's not keeping me on my goal. I'm so busy trying to get ahead. I want the prestige. I want the title. I want this. I want that. But if I'm not getting no rest and I'm not eating properly, I'm not going to enjoy it when I get it. Matter of fact, what's going to happen, I'm going to wind up sabotaging it because I'm not taking time to put myself in check. We used to have an expression back in the day that says, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I think, in my mind, based on what we know right now, there was some poor judgment. There was some poor decision making in this scenario. I don't know if it was because money, property, and prestige made people feel like they're invincible. They don't have to answer to anybody. Oh, I could pay this off. I could do this. I could do that. And everything is going to be all right. I don't know if that's the case. But we do know that there were talks about settlements. So money was an issue. We do know that there's talks about this big contract coming up that may or may not happen now. That's pretty prestigious to get a contract for $100 million. I'm like, yeah, give me one of those. Give me one of those. Give me one of those. That's a little prestigious. I worked hard. I bring myself to a certain standard in life, and somebody wants to reward me for my hard work and who I am and want to reward me in that way. Yeah, that's pretty prestigious. And then, because I don't have good judgment and I don't practice good decision making skills, wind up sabotaging everything. Now, here's the question. When the dust clears, where will Shannon Sharpe be at when the dust clears? Is the dust going to clear tomorrow? No. Is the dust going to clear next week? No. Is there going to be continuous fallout from this? Yes. Matter of fact, we can go all the way back to Will Smith. We can go all the way back there. The Oscars, the thing with Chris, I forgot the comedian name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And everybody's like, wow, how did that happen? How did that happen? What was the fallout? Oh, you can't come to the Oscar for 10 years. Movie sales are down. People don't see you in the same light. They don't have the same respect for you that they had before. Now you got to run them over because the distrust. Because the distrust is now in the room. So how we carry ourselves personally and professionally, it matters. Some people say, well, what I do in my personal life? I see there's a viewer out there. Thank you for watching. If you want to leave your name, I'll be sure to share it. So some people might be like, this is my life. I could do what I want to do. I could do what I want to do. My personal life ain't got nothing to do with my professional life. And I'm here to argue with you and tell you that that's not true. It's not true at all. If in your personal life you are practicing poor judgment and poor decision making skills, and you're letting money, property, and prestige get in the way of your goals, it's going to affect your career. And vice versa. If you are having poor judgment in your work life, your career, whatever it might be, if you're practicing poor judgment and poor decision making skills, it's going to spill over into your personal life. Oh, let me see who this is. Oh, Kaylee Robinson. Kaylee says, Coach B, it's been a while. Yes, I miss you too, Kaylee. Thanks for coming in and watching. So again, how we live our personal life impacts our professional life, and how we live our professional life impacts our personal life. So if we're practicing poor judgment, poor decision making skills, it will impact our life all the way around, to the point that it will look like we sabotaged everything that we worked so hard for. Again, what can we learn from this situation with Shannon Sharpe? What happened? I don't have all the facts, but I do know this, that there was a point in time that there was poor decision making, that there was poor judgment that led to the situation he is in now. And as a result, his work life, his family life, his mental health has all been impacted by it. Like I said, I'm absolutely 100% sure that he is sitting somewhere really thinking about what happened, how can he change it and make it better. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying at some point in time, he is thinking about, how did I get here? And he's thinking about, how can I change? How can I change the narrative of this? Because his life has been impacted. His money, his prestige, his property has been impacted by this situation. So you can leave a comment in the chat and tell me, does poor judgment and poor decision making create major setbacks in your life? Can money, property, and prestige distract you from your goals? Can you personally and professionally sabotage your own success? And if the answers to any of those questions are yes, my suggestion is to sit back, take an inventory, examine your life, and ask yourself what needs to change. This has been Saturday Solutions, Saturday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Coach B. Don't forget to like, share, leave a comment. Oh, yeah, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'll see you next Saturday.